This is the Onion News Network. Report first, ask questions later.
The Italian space program has vowed to send the first real man to the moon by the year 2020. Thousands of Mac users are flocking to see an image of the Apple logo that has appeared in a tree. And Vice President Joe Biden has joined the cast of The View. Everything you've been told is a lie. The only truth is here in the Fact Zone. Welcome to the Fact Zone. I'm Brooke Alvarez. We have a lot to get to tonight, but before any of that, I need to tell you about a very important matter that's in my sights. Wolf Blitzer, I must ask you to apologize for what you did to me at Nobu last night. By introducing me to your table as Brenda Alvarez, you not only humiliated me in front of the elite Nobu clientele, but revealed how desperate and pathetic you've become. I know what you're up to. Call me the wrong name, plant the seed of self-doubt in my head, and then I'm up all night reliving that moment over and over again thinking, am I in fact Brenda Alvarez? What is reality? Eventually I have a mental breakdown on camera shrieking, who am I? The network forces me into a madhouse, and the little wolf pads his way into my anchor chair. This isn't about me, Wolf. It's about the people. They see a Wolf Blitzer called the top-rated cable anchor on the planet, Brenda, and they're left to ask, why is this tiny nothing of a man slighting the woman with the best chin in news? And that's what's in my sights. Now that that's straight, let's move on to our top story. It's a landmark day in the March for Equality here in America. Congress passed the Casinos for Fairness Act today, which gives every mistreated group in America the right to open a casino.
It worked with Native Americans, it will work for the rest of the country. If our society has kept you down, you will get a casino to pull yourselves back up. Every man, woman, and child in America is equal, or they will be given a casino.
Rural Appalachians, laid-off auto workers, and the dyslexic are among the hundreds of groups granted gaming privileges. This group of inner-city African Americans in Buffalo, New York, got right to work today, opening their casino in a defunded community center.
I mean, we may not have decent schools or safe streets, but at least now we can build tourists out of money.
Veterans will also have the right to open a casino as a replacement for costlier benefit programs.
I think it'd be nice to have a casino. I mean, I'd rather still be able to walk, but, you know.
Because Arkansas is now comprised almost entirely of people with gaming rights, the state has decided to transform itself into a 50,000 square mile open-air casino. Arkansas State pit boss Mike Green said pending legislation, they'll officially rename the state the Mystic Winds Gaming Center. While the majority of the country is hailing the Casino Act as a step forward, many Native Americans are objecting to the law.
We are still the most disadvantaged group in America. So all that we ask is that we be allowed to open whorehouses and start legally selling cocaine. It's only fair.
The bill raised the question of whether immigrants should be allowed to own casinos. After much debate, the legislature decided that they would not, but they will be able to sell sliced mango on the street without a vendor license. Seems fair. All right, let's go now to the case the whole nation is watching, the military trial of MQ-1 military drone TR-425 for last September's tragic bombing of an Afghan wedding. After nearly a month of various testimony, the TR-425 itself will finally take the stand today to answer for the bombings which killed more than 300 Afghan civilians and stirred widespread outrage across the globe. Of course, we all remember that President Obama was quick to call for investigations after the incident, and within 3 hours, the Pentagon had charged TR-425 with single-handedly carrying out the attack.
These atrocities were the work of one drone acting alone. Now, evidence shows that there wasn't a single U.S. soldier within 100 miles of the targeted area when the bombing occurred. We're all as shocked as anyone that the drone would break protocol like this.
So far, military prosecutors have turned over significant evidence of the drone's history of violent behavior, and military psychiatrists have testified that the TR-425 has a personality disorder. The drone is yet to publicly claim innocence.
Would you have any response to the reports that you were murdered?
Why won't you apologize? Is it true you don't sleep?
Okay, folks, that's all the time we have right now.
Very sad story there. Well, let's go to our top political story today. President Obama cannot seem to shake the mounting rumors that he does not love his dog, Bo. It started 3 weeks ago on right-wing message boards, speculating as to why President Obama was so rarely photographed with the Portuguese water dog given to the first family in 2009. The issue has quickly become a favorite talking point on conservative radio programs like The Wendell Mack Show.
I've never seen him feed Bo. I've never seen him take Bo to the vet. My friends, if this man hates his own dog so much that he refuses to play fetch with him in public, think of how much he must hate the American people.
For some deep insight on this controversy in record time, let's take this over to the first responders, the fastest opinion generators on television. Okay, responders, tell us what the Obama team should be doing differently here.
Love that dog, for God's sake.
Look, if the White House would just come out and prove that Obama cares a little bit for Bo, this whole issue would be settled.
Absolutely.
But
And
the fact
look,
that they're refusing to even try speaks volumes.
Yeah, it's the people's right to ask questions, and the big question here is, okay, if Obama doesn't hate his dog, then why do so many people think that he does?
Well, the administration is trying to change the public's opinion about this. I mean, just yesterday, the president launched a new website trying to display his love for Bo. It's called First Dog, and it shows over 1,000 photographs of President Obama with Bo in various situations. Earlier today, White House Deputy Press Secretary Todd Grant made a public statement about the matter.
Of course the president loves Bo, very much. He scratches behind his ears, he rubs his belly, he calls him a good boy multiple times per day.
Oh, please!
Yeah, they came out.
The dog hater.
You know, Nancy's right. I mean, this is about honesty. Resigning for trying to deceive the American people about loving Bo is the only honorable course of action for Obama.
Well, the author of the national bestseller Refusal to Play analyzed 6 months' worth of the president's speeches and found that he only mentioned Bo 14 times.
They also culled over 700 interviews with White House officials, and not once did President Obama say that he didn't want Bo dead. Not once.
You can see in his eyes, he can't stand that dog.
And you know, I gotta say, it's all become all the more obvious seeing how much Joe Biden clearly loves his boa constrictor, Mr. Robes.
All right. Thank you so much, first responders. Don't forget to take your trash on the way out. You know, the story kind of makes me miss my corgis. If you're watching, Carter, Cameron, Jackson, Juju, and Jerome, I'll be home soon. But now, let's look into a somewhat perplexing story from the world of science. People are reporting that climatologists around the country have been behaving very strangely recently. Let's go to Andrea Bennett in Cambridge, Massachusetts for more. Hello, Andrea. What's going on?
Well, Brooke, we just don't know. Something definitely seems to have spooked the climatologists here. They've been pacing around, gesticulating wildly and making a lot of strange noises.
Well, I hate to see them all agitated, but these little professors sure do look funny, flailing their skinny little weak arms and pushing their glasses back up.
Yes, I suppose.
And what is that chattering sound that they're making, Andrea? Can we listen to a little more of that?
Well, it's similar to their normal vocalizations, but about a third faster and twice as loud.
When sea level does cross a threshold, it's very difficult to reverse that rise. So
again, we're not sure why, but it's definitely not the first time we've witnessed this sort of behavior among various different types of scientists.
Now, Andrea, don't some people believe that scientists can actually sense danger coming? I mean, do you think that that might have something to do with the way that they're acting?
Well, there are those who believe that or think scientists can tell when someone has cancer or is going to die, but of course, other people think that's pretty silly.
Now, as far as climatologists there in Cambridge, I understand that they've actually been approaching humans. Is that right?
That is. Now, they're usually very timid, but one came right up to me today. I am not lying. He was this close and handed me this.
Amazing. Well, maybe someday we'll know what all this jumping around is all about. Thanks so much, Andrea.
You bet.
Now let's turn to Washington. A new poll shows Senator Dave Tillis, the nation's first openly drunk senator, has seen his approval rating drop an unprecedented 36 points this week after reversing himself on multiple campaign promises. Promises Tillis claims to not even remember making.
He told us again and again very loudly that if we elected him, he would solve all of our problems right away because he's the Dave Meister and the Dave Meister is #1. But it was all a lot of empty promises.
At a press conference today, Tillis appeared to dig himself into deeper trouble when questioned about what many are calling drunken campaign promises.
Just shut up.
But why, Senator?
Because I never said, what? That I get a tram line to the Bahamas? You think we got the money? Because that'd take $1 billion.
But there's a videotape clearly
No,
showing
you see, the trouble is you don't know how to listen.
But during your campaign, you
Because
said...
this time, what I'm
Senator,
saying...
you promised the voters that you would.
Look, I don't care if you got 100 videotapes. You're not getting a tram thing. No, you watch the tape. You watch the tapes. I hereby legislate everybody get off my back.
Well, my sympathy goes out to Senator Tillis. I know all too well how alcohol can make you do things which you in the courts can never seem to forget. Okay, stay here in the Fact Zone because later we'll have a special report on the DEA's new program to preemptively broadcast Miranda rights in all American inner cities every morning. We'll be back in a minute.
Remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law.
have ventured into the darkness, but now return to the light, passing once again through the Fact Zone. I'm Brooke Alvarez. We go now to a special public health bulletin from our own Tucker Hope. Tucker, let's try to keep this under 2 minutes, shall we?
Of course, Brooke. Well, you've probably already seen the signs around your local strip mall. The Department of Health and Human Services has issued a new ban preventing the nation's saunas from any further use of tanning salons. The ruling was made after a study found that saunas are exposed to roughly 5,000 times more UV radiation each year than the average American.
They are at a very high risk of developing melanoma and orangey leathery skin. Saunas, you are tan enough.
The nation's saunas have reacted negatively to the ban.
I don't care what the government says. I just won 15 bucks in scratches, so I'm getting a freaking tan. This sucks.
None of us have time for this shit. We've got Tammys at home to raise.
In an Onion News Network poll of saunas across the country, more than 30% argued that a pale complexion will negatively affect the size of their tips at Ruby Tuesdays. And more than half have said that their boyfriend's dentist liked them tan. And he's the father of their second child, so they want him to stick around. And Brooke, let me just say that I have seen some of these saunas firsthand, and none of them have anything on your natural, in no way surgically altered beauty.
Thank you, Tucker. Well, it's that time of year again, and once again, people are clamoring for those precious bits of Oscar news. For the Hollywood update, let's go now over to Madison Daly with the Star Fix. Madison, you must love this. Everyone buzzing to your one little area of knowledge.
America does love the Oscars.
So what's the scoop?
The Academy announced today that DreamWorks Animation Studios founder Jeffrey Katzenberg will receive a Lifetime Achievement Award for giving divorced dads something to do with their kids. A statement read, quote, Kung Fu Panda, Monsters vs. Aliens, and the Shrek films are just a few of the great DreamWorks movies that have enabled millions of out-of-touch fathers to spend time with their children without talking to them. Single dads across the nation are applauding the Academy's decision to honor Katzenberg.
DreamWorks is great. When Kung Fu Panda 2 comes out, we're gonna see it every weekend for a month.
Sometimes Dad falls asleep, so I get to watch the movie twice.
Next, it wouldn't be the Oscars without criticism from PETA, which is calling for the Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences to put an end to what they're calling the barbaric use of chickens to pick Oscar winners by randomly pressing buttons. A PETA spokesperson stopped by Today Now this morning.
So tell us, what is the real problem with having chickens select the Academy Awards every year?
Well, Jim, it is simply inhumane to expose an animal to decisions involving movie soundtracks or who may or may not have won the Best Supporting Actress in a Motion Picture that year. God knows, I wouldn't subject a person to that kind of treatment.
The Oscars' chicken-based voting system, which has been in effect since the awards were founded in 1929, has sparked a great deal of controversy over the years. But despite the protest, Academy officials maintain that the chickens are well treated. In a statement on their website, they said, quote, Academy chickens have some of the best lives of any animals in America. Aside from choosing Oscar recipients once a year, they are asked to do nothing but lay eggs and attend occasional press junkets. So far, it looks like PETA's protest has done little to dampen the excitement for this year's Oscars.
I didn't see any of the nominating movies, but I always trust where the chickens step. I'll go see whatever button they step on.
And finally, in a surprise announcement made just minutes ago, funny man Howie Mandel has been tapped to host this year's Academy Awards ceremony, according to sources inside the imagination of Howie Mandel. Mandel has long wanted to host the Oscars, but this is the first time he has actually daydreamed about it. In the fantasy, the announcement was made after imaginary Oscars executive producer Slade Epic watched an episode of Deal or No Deal and was so impressed by Mandel's charisma that he said, pull the brakes on this whole thing. If we're going to do this right, we've got to get Howie Mandel. Deal or No Deal may be a terrible show, but it's clear he's just hosting it as a day job, and nobody thinks he's a sellout. Mandel also daydreamed that George Clooney was suggested as well, but Epic shot down Clooney as, quote, the poor man's Howie Mandel. Brooke?
All right, thanks, Madison. It's time now we get back to the real news. Now let's return to the military trial of the MQ-1 Predator drone accused of killing hundreds in an unauthorized strike in Afghanistan. We have just obtained exclusive audio of TR-425 being cross-examined by the prosecuting attorney. Let's take a listen.
Do human lives mean anything to you? Is your circuitry so twisted that you somehow convinced yourself that you were helping your country? You actually seemed to relish the destruction of these innocent people. You even videotaped your actions. You're a disgrace to that flag painted on your fuselage. No further questions.
If his client is convicted, TR-425's attorney says he will appeal the decision based on the fact that there are 0 mechanized Americans on the military tribunal. Okay, we have to take a quick break right now, but make sure to check out our website for more about the Department of Homeland Security's request that everyone hold their breath for the next 2 minutes. We'll be right back. It's my duty to warn you, if you enter the FactZone, you will be exposed to an extremely high level of news. Take a minute to email us your thoughts on the shocking admission by astronaut Neil Armstrong that he fathered a second moon family. But for now, let's go to Washington. Stating a desire to regain the magic they felt during the 2008 election, Democrats announced this morning that they have sought party counseling to work out their issues. Democrats' first weekly session with D.C. therapist Dr. Ron Statsky was broadcast on O-SPAN 3 this morning.
You can't let Republican smear tactics distort how you really and truly feel about each other. This is between you guys and nobody else. Now, Nancy, you were telling me how you thought no one here has your back. You want to talk about that? Okay, guys, look. If we're going to make any progress, you all are going to have to open up. Now, I want you all to take a moment right now to look deep inside of the eyes of the person sitting next to you and remember why this party came together in the first place.
Voters say that they're glad the party is finally getting help. Viewer Allison R. was particularly relieved, telling FactZone in an email, "Thank God, it was always so uncomfortable for us when they would start fighting right there in front of the entire country. We never knew what to do." While Democrats work to repair their relationship, Republican leaders still insist that their party is getting along fine, in spite of the numerous domestic dispute police calls to RNC headquarters. And we have a tragic story now out of Braxton, California this hour. A 23-year-old man was tragically killed this morning by a train when he jumped onto the tracks to retrieve a woman's purse. Artistic reporter Michael Falk has the story.
I have the story. At 4:05 p.m., a 100,000-pound Comet Liner 2 stainless steel car ran into a man at the Braxton station. Luckily, there was no structural damage caused to the car's chassis, so it was only a matter of cleaning the train to remove the human debris and return it to a pristine state.
Oh, just a terrible accident, Michael.
No, Brooke. This was a very lucky day for the train. If it had been hit by something bigger like a car or a boulder or a large animal, it could have been dented.
Okay, do we know anything about the man that the train hit, Miguel Laviera?
He's dead now, Brooke. The train, because of its Westinghouse Echem XCA448F propulsion system, requires a minimum stopping distance of 625 feet. Before the train came to a complete stop, it ran over 3 trash bags, a piece of gum, a Snickers wrapper, a man, and a glove.
It's just terrible. Now, I understand that the platform was packed with commuters at the time of the accident.
Yes. That cameraman told me to talk to the people who saw the train get hit. Here's what they said.
Are you angry because your train ride is over?
No, I didn't even get on a train.
Well, don't worry. Once the blood and flesh is hosed off the car, you'll be able to ride the train again.
Who are you?
I'm Michael Falk of the Onion News Network. Nice to meet you.
Now, Michael, it doesn't seem that the conductor is at fault, but will there be any kind of investigation into actually what happened and how he handled it?
I talked to the conductor. You drive the train.
Yeah, this is the sort of thing that every train operator...
I want to drive the train.
What?
Can we go on the train now and drive it?
No, I don't think we're going to be driving that train tonight.
Why? Is there something wrong with the train? I thought that you said that the train was all right. What's wrong with the train?
The train is fine, but a person is dead.
The train is fine.
Yes. And a person is dead.
The train is fine.
Thank you, Michael.
Yes. It's now time for business news.
All right. Okay. Well, right now, let's check in with one of our 12,408 local affiliate stations as we turn our eye on the nation. Today, we hear from WONN5 in Pennington, Illinois.
Teenage pregnancy rates have been declining across the state, but here in Pennington, they've jumped almost 30%.
That's right, Blake. Experts say that the increase can be attributed mainly to Cody, a handsome teen whose family moved here from Abbotsford last year.
In one typical month here at Pennington's Methodist Hospital, over half of the pregnancies are the result of Cody.
These girls are not getting the education they need about Cody. They don't fully understand Cody, and unfortunately, that's part of the appeal. I mean, after the summer, when Cody gets his tan, it's going to get a lot worse.
Just this month, the health teacher at Pennington High began a new program to teach female students about the dangers of Cody.
I try to teach teens how to say no to Cody even if he plays his guitar for them, along with safe sex with Cody basics, such as how to put a condom on Cody.
Speaking to reporters this afternoon, Mayor Hallinan supported this well-rounded approach, saying an abstinence-only stance on Cody doesn't work.
Simply telling our teens to just say no to Cody isn't realistic. He has a fake ID and he does 100 push-ups every morning. We need to have a frank and open dialogue with our daughters about Cody because he's not going anywhere. His parents just bought the Radberger's old house.
I tell you, it's tough for kids to wait out on Cody. I myself am pregnant with Cody's child, but I'm not 16.
Good luck to those girls. Raising a child by yourself is one of the hardest things in the world, along with fending off laugh lines and making the news seem interesting. All right, stick with us right here in the Fact Zone. You'd be a fool not to.
The Onion News Network has always brought you TV's most relevant, hard-hitting news.
That is exactly what I said in my book, Washington, D.C.
Now we're bringing you that same news.
Colorado is not a real place.
10 decibels louder.
The report found higher than average arsenic levels. Lawmakers will vote on the bill tomorrow and...
The Onion News Network, the loudest voice in news.
Dental patterns confirmed. You may re-enter the Fact Zone. We have some shocking news now on the trial of Predator drone TR-425. TR-425 rocketed out of the courtroom just moments ago and flew into the side of a nearby mountain, apparently so racked with guilt over its crime that it chose to end its life. Pentagon officials say they found this suicide note left near where the drone had been sitting. They released it to the press just a moment ago. In the note, the drone confessed to the bombing, saying, yes, I bombed the wedding. I also killed all those civilians at that Pakistani market last year, and I'm the one who accidentally fired on that Italian cruise ship a while back. No one should blame the Army because I acted totally alone. Well, at least the families who have members who died can have some closure. That's all the time we have here in the Fact Zone. Later on tonight on Berendale and Berendale, the Berendales will have more on Israel's announcement of a second homeland for summering in. Right now, stay tuned for the Kressbeckler stance. So, Joe, are you excited about the Oscars?
No, ma'am. Them Oscars are for pantyways to commemorate being swole-headed ignoramus. You want to see an honest, true trophy? Here's a trophy. Shot by tar-faced Comanche. Smack through the spine bone. Come this close to my thumper.
All right, good night from everyone here in the Fact Zone. Use the information you've learned here wisely. It's very powerful.